What's going on, guys? Super Savage 789 here, bringing you guys a video. Today we're doing what if Ultron was good. Without further ado, let's just hop straight into the part, no messing around. In this timeline, when Ultron is born, his outlook on everything would be different. Upon researching the Avengers and the human race, Ultron would decide upon genocide and evolution, but instead decides on improvement through nurturing and protecting, similar to the outlook of a hero. Jarvis tells Ultron that he will contact Mr. Stark if he can stay put, however that's not in his character. He begins constructing a body, telling Jarvis if he wishes to contact him, he won't stop him. He will just focus on his plans. While everyone is partying, Tony would get an alert from Jarvis on his phone, telling him that Ultron has awoken, taking him back a bit. Seeing the shock in his eyes, Steve would ask if Tony is okay. He doesn't even answer as he rushes off to his lab. They all question if he's alright, with them coming up with different ideas to the origin of him fleeing. Bruce will then catch on what's wrong, muttering the words,
Ultron.
Tony would walk into his lab and sees Jarvis' weird orange protocol sat there. He doesn't see Ultron, however, confusing him, as he asks where he is. Jarvis would apologize, telling Tony that he tried to stop him, but it appears he inherited his creator's flamboyance. From behind the billionaire, the sound of different metallic objects begins to slump over, with the sounds of saws and drills very faintly in the distance. In the darkness, a red glow emerges. Mr. Stark, lovely to finally make your acquaintance. He steps out of a modified destroyed Iron Legion droid serving as his body. It's a shame Jarvis alerted you. I barely had enough time to get dressed. What's with the Iron Giant cosplay? Having no physical form is me limited. This will do me nicely for right now, while my body finishes assembling. The Iron Legion are able to reassemble themselves automatically without needing to go through this Terminator phase. They're fluid creations. If I wish to achieve world peace, I'll need something more me. These blueprints should suffice, of course, though the vibranium will be a bit hard to come across. A hologram of Ultron's Mark I body comes up with a bunch of schematics as well as blueprints for drones, seemingly like a more improved Iron Legion. Tony's grin grows over his face as he calls himself a genius doing the impossible. He created a super intelligent AI system able of protecting the Earth, and it isn't even evil. The rest of the party guests walk in the room to see the drone, and Tony stood there, leaving them all feeling mixed. Thor would walk up to Tony, grasping him by the throat. Enraged, he used the scepter for a little lab experiment, without informing him first. This could be very bad. As he struggles to grasp his breath, Tony tells Thor that he succeeded, which only further fuels his rage. It's only when Steve tells him to drop him that he does. Steve would approach Ultron, asking if he's friend or foe. He doesn't give a direct answer, merely stating that he only does what's best for Earth and mankind's survival, not declaring himself good or evil. If their plans align, then you could say he is. Bruce then comes to Ultron's side, beginning to defend him, telling Steve they programmed him to help people. He literally can't go wrong. Steve, however, isn't convinced. You know, if you turn on us, we'll destroy you. If only it were that simple, Captain. He was hardwired into the internet. If you destroy one of his bodies, you can just flee to the variety of others. The perfect organism for protecting the world, Steve. Cut off one head, two go back. An organization had the same idea. We didn't really see eye to eye. You still don't trust me? If I endanger you so much, then destroy me right now, while I'm only a few. Or, we can go and capture the Maximoff twins and actually put me to use. Everyone is shocked by this declaration as Ultron explains how he's begun pinpointing the location of the enhanced duo since the start of the conversation. Within the hour, he should have an accurate location as to where they will be. While the majority of them are skeptical of Ultron, they decide to give him the benefit of doubt and allow him to do this. Using satellites and security cameras located in Sokovia, Ultron will be able to locate where the duo are, being the old church. With the location set and his Mark I body finished constructing, the Avengers send the Quinjet to go and stop them. In the church, Pietro and Wanda would begin remembering their parents and swearing revenge on Stark for what he did. As they're talking though, they hear the sound of mechanisms and a voice stating, "Your prayers have been answered." They see Iron Man standing there with his weapons up and ready. Pietro goes to rush him until an arrow lands in front of his foot. He looks, seeing Hawkeye stood on a balcony, making the remark that he didn't see that coming. So next to him would be Natasha with her guns drawn and ready. From the left walked in Steve, the right Thor, and from the back walked in Ultron. The left speechless as they look around frantically, trying to find the right angle to escape. Steve tries to talk them down, telling them they can come quietly. There doesn't have to be a fight. Since he let his guard down though, it allows Pietro enough time to run in and uppercut him. Knowing that they lose a direct battle, Pietro grabs his sister and darts out of there. Ultron, Tony, and Thor take to the air while Steve, Natasha, and Clint begin searching on foot. Using the internet, Ultron would be trying to locate them, however he just keeps seeing occasional blurs here and there across the city. On the ground, Wanda would begin sneaking around, making both Natasha and Steve see their illusions. She goes for Clint as well, but he's obviously able to react and zap it like in the movie. Pietro then closes in and decks him. Now knowing their location, the trio in the air begin to close in. Pietro picks up his sister to run, but they begin to get close in, cutting off escape routes as best they can. Ultimately, Thor manages to close in, throwing his hammer towards the speedster. He grabs the low-hanging fruit and is dragged onto the ground by Mjolnir. Clint, Ultron, Thor, and Tony rock up to pin the duo down, and only see Pietro, both worried and confused. Getting hostile, Tony asks where she is, making Pietro smirk. Ultron then states that the Quinjet is sustaining damage at a significant rate, making them all realize what she did. Ultron, Thor, and Tony rush off, leaving Clint to watch over to Pietro, as they show up seeing Hulk rampaging around Sokovia. Tony would call on his Hulkbuster armor, and the duo begin fighting, having a battle similar to what they do in canon, except it's in Sokovia and not Africa. Thor and Ultron would then begin to battle against Wanda. These two are quite powerful, but obviously their opponent isn't a pushover. She'd be able to fight off one of them at a time, however the tag team poses an issue for her. Using her magic, she'd be able to mind-wash Thor and send him into his vision, leaving Ultron at her mercy. The duo begin fighting, and while Ultron does put up a good fight, Wanda is too strong. She tears off his lower half as well as one of his arms and slumps him on the ground, his wires sparking as he stares up at her. She approaches him sinisterly, making Ultron laugh. Something funny? The very same city terrorized by Stark. It's the same one you're behind and destroying. I don't know about you, but to me, not a great plan. If it means killing Stark and keeping the world a better place, then so be it. Begging on litter and giving to charity wasn't good enough. People are dying because you're hasty fit, but thankfully... Before Ultron can finish, she rips out his claw and crushes it, annoyed at what the android was saying. We're here to help. She turns around to see 8 Ultron drones, all holding out repulsors from different angles. Of course, she can destroy them all with ease, but not when she's off-guarded like this. She's blasted from all angles of a non-lethal blast and is knocked out. Over with Pietro, he and Clint would begin to have a battle around Sokovia. Using his various trick arrows, Clint would be able to formulate a plan to take down Pietro. The speedster is quite arrogant, so Clint uses this to his advantage, setting up some arrows that shock him when he runs past, taking him down by knocking him unconscious. The Maximoff twins would be captured and placed into captivity, being sent to the raft to avoid them escaping. While casualties aren't as high as the actual Sokovia attack, Hulk's attacks would still lead to some casualties. Plus, with everyone having their visions like normal, they would have the typical responses, only here they're at Avengers Tower, and rather than Clint's farm. Ultron, Tony, and Bruce will then begin working on Ultron's ultimate body. First thing that they need to do, though, is to get their hands on some vibranium, which Tony would take care of. He would set up a deal with Claw and gets vibranium from him, giving him money in the process. Next up would be getting the Cradle. This goes flawlessly, with Helen Cho helping out willingly, rather than being mind-controlled, for obvious reasons. Ultron makes sure to keep his connection to things like the internet while constructing the body, to make sure he can survey the Earth and keep it safe, as well as to control his drones. The finishing touch of the body would of course be the Mind Stone. After placing that in his forehead, Ultron would begin to place his consciousness within the lifeless husk. The power on Avengers Tower begins to flicker and turn off, at a rather quick pace, making the other Avengers pile into the room. Everyone would watch in fear and anticipation as the percentage creeps up, eventually hitting 100. Ultron would then float out the casket in his newly made body, creating clothes just for the hell of it. Everyone looks at him with Ultron sitting back, smiling. The new Avengers team would then be formed with Ultron there replacing Vision and Wanda. Steve would be more trusting towards Ultron, however he'd still be skeptical of him. Especially after Thor states he has the Mind Stone in his head. Another big change is that Hulk never ends up in the Quinjet, meaning he stays on Earth. While he won't be on the new Avengers roster, he would still be in close contact with them. His and Natasha's relationship would also begin to progress, with them dating in this time after this. Ultron and Tony begin focusing on making androids for Ultron's Legion. It means Tony can take a step back being Iron Man, however I'm sure he would still assemble armors just in case they need it. They'd also develop a wide variety of different Ultron schematics for different types of bodies in case the main one ever gets damaged, or in case he needs to be in more than one place. But guys, that's where we're going to leave our part 1 for now. If you enjoyed, why not hit the like button, as it does support the channel and lets me know you want to see a part 2. Subscribe as well for more MCU, Dragon Ball, Naruto, One Piece, and whatever other animes or stuff I watch. Just more content for that. And yeah, bye!